It's Friday. I hope you are doing great wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining again another session. Nelly and I, we are talking about today is a little bit of a relaxed session. A relaxed session. We're just going to roll, in a relaxed mood. But what are we going to talk about today? As parents, we are often told that we need to spend more quality time with our children. But what does quality time actually mean? What does it mean? Does it mean expensive outing? Does it mean expensive holidays? Or what sort of it? What is it? What does it mean? So that is what me and Nelly, we're going to be sharing our own perspective today. So for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Peggy Barre. I'm the founder of Arise and Thrive Academy, a domestic abuse practitioner. I will pass it to Nelly to introduce herself.
Okay, Peggy, I'm just looking. It seems as if there's a delay in the video because on my screen it's just black on the live stream.
Right.
Oh, it's delayed. Okay.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I am Nelly Kwesingwe, a social worker, transformational life coach, and co-founder or co-director for Hand in Hand Community CIC. We had an issue and we started late, so we'll manage the way it is.
Yeah, it's
Over
one
to
of
you,
those days
Peggy.
it's one of those days with technology issues, but hey, we're just gonna roll irrespective of the difficulty. So, like I said earlier, we are gonna be talking today about quality time. We know we live in a world as parents, whether you're a single parent or both parents, time is not enough. Time is never enough. And we try to juggle everything. We've got work, we've got studies, we've got children, we've got housework. Sometimes we just feel guilty that maybe we're not spending enough time or quality time with our children. But maybe we may be feeling that way without actually realizing that, hang on, we are actually spending quality time with the children, but then it's because we don't actually know the definition of quality time. So that is what Nelly and I were going to be exploring today. So if you're one of those parents that usually feel guilty, because I do, in fact, just today like this, I came back feeling like, you know what, I've not spent any time with my son since all day. But hey, this is what sometimes we need to step back and say, what does it mean to actually spend that quality time? So Nelly, I don't know whether before we actually go into it, what is first of all quality time? What is quality time?
Yeah, Peggy, you are talking. Just
Yes,
before I
now I'll
get
just
into
ask.
what is quality time, I
Yeah.
will, I can see myself double. I can, no, I'm saying that I can see myself
Yeah.
double on the
Yeah, I think
screen.
it's
So I
showing that
don't know what's going on here.
you're locked in.
Is that the same with you? But anyway,
yeah. Maybe you can log out with one. You can log out one. I don't know which one. I
okay.
think you've got two logged in
So
twice.
I don't know because I've put off the one. I've even switched off the phone, but it's still showing that I'm on. So I'm not too sure what's going on today.
Okay, never mind. Don't worry. Don't worry because you don't want to. We don't want to make a mistake and then you go log out the wrong one. So we can just roll. We can just
Exactly.
roll the way it is.
But then it's just okay, but can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you. Or you've logged in as a host and a co-host.
How do I take one off?
And both of them are actually showing. Um, okay, hang on. I'll see. I know what I'm gonna do. You can take the host out. Leave the host and then take out the co-host. If you go
Mm,
on participants, if you click on participants,
Okay, just hold on. My screen has gone blurry.
okay. Sorry,
My screen,
guys.
my
Sorry.
screen has gone blurry. So
Yeah, that's fine. While we're waiting for Nelly to sort
technology
out,
is
yeah, while we're waiting for Nelly to sort it out at her end, we wanted to define what does quality time means. You know, what does it mean when you spend quality time? You know, so for me, for my own definition and understanding, quality time, it can be 1 minute, it can be 5 seconds, it can be any time that is impactful. That moment where you share with your child that is so. Have you managed to sort it, Nelly?
Oh, can I take out this other one? Can I? How do you kick the other one out?
I can't kick it at my end. It cannot go on my end. Don't worry, let's leave it. Leave it. Let's just leave it like that.
Because I think it's impacting the quality of the quality as well.
Okay. Because it's co-host. Um, you are hosting and co-hosting, so I haven't got permission to remove that one.
No, I'm asking the process. How do I take out?
If you go on Nelly, like the co-host, and then there's on three dots.
Oh yeah, yeah.
On that three dot, what does it say?
It says ask to start video, pin, make host, co-host, remove permission in multi-pin, or remove.
Yeah, that's it. Done.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, guys.
Hey,
Technology, sometimes it just deals with us.
now that's fine. So we're
Okay,
talking about what's the definition of quality time? We just wanted to like, what is the definition of quality time?
yeah. So quality. So when we talk of quality, it is obvious that we talk of quantity.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, it's easy for us to know what is quantity than what is quality. So
Hmm.
in relation to this topic that we're talking today, quantity, I'll start with quantity. Quantity is the amount or the hours spent
Hmm.
with children
Yeah.
physically, whereas quality time is that connection, is connectivity, the value that we spend with our children, how our children feel when
Hmm. Hello, Nelly, are you there? Hello, Nelly. Right. It seems as if Nelly has gone frozen. Nelly, can you hear me? You went frozen there for
yeah,
a
I'm
bit.
here, but I think, you know what, there's something not right.
Yeah, you just froze there for a bit.
I don't know what's going on because you have been removed. Is it me?
No, you're still there. I can still see you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you
Can you
because
see?
there's something coming on my screen, and I'm not sure what will happen if I.
I can see you. I can hear you. So I don't know.
My this thing has gone off. My Zoom has gone off. So I'm not too sure what's going on.
Right, it's gone off. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you and I can see you.
Oh, so where am I talking? I don't know where I'm talking now. Anyway, if you can see me, then we can continue because I'm not too sure where I can't see myself.
Right.
So I don't know what's going on. Let's just be talking as long as you can hear me and you can see me and other people can as well. Then we
Mm-hmm.
can continue just doing its own thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about,
You wanted to define quantity first. We're talking about quality time, and you said you're going to start by defining quantity first.
yeah. So I've talked about quantity. We focus on the hours that we spend with our children, what we buy for our children, what we do for our children. That is a
Mm-hmm.
quantity. And this is an aspect where majority of parents say that I've done everything for my child, but they are not satisfied. They don't appreciate what they are doing. That is a quantity side of it because we focus on the material things, we focus on the time we spend with our children. But then we can spend the whole day with our children in the same house, but everyone is doing their own different thing and they don't even know what the other person is doing. So that's
Mm-hmm.
quantity time with our children. Whereas
Yeah.
quality time with our children can still be spending that time together, but this
Mm-hmm.
is being intentional and this
Yeah.
involves emotional connection. For
Yeah.
instance, we can spend, okay, as busy parents, we don't need to spend the whole day with our children for that to be quality time. It could be 30 minutes per day or less, but
Mm-hmm.
that's be more quality. The quality here comes in the connection that parents have with their children. It could be in little things like make a child know that their viewpoint is valued, that do
Mm-hmm.
you appreciate their contribution in any probably decision or just whatever they like or just their opinion is valued for the children to feel that their presence is they're always wanted, they always want them to make a contribution, like even talking,
Mm-hmm.
just to feel that they are being heard. Those are the aspects that lead to emotional connectivity, which is the quality time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when you were talking, it just kind of it took me back to the moment where I think we talk about this in one of our videos that as a parent, when you come back home, are children happy to come and meet you and start telling you how their day went and all the difficulties that they face? Children who are prone to run down to embrace you, ask how your day has been, and then start talking. Those are children that I'm sure you've kind of developed that atmosphere or that environment of quality time, of spending time, making them feeling comfortable that they can run to you and share how their day has been. On the contrary, if you have children where when you come home, everybody is hiding, they don't want to come down, they don't want to talk, then that is a red flag that something is not right. Maybe the environment is not conducive for them to want to share what is happening or how they're feeling. So the essence is to actually know whether have I set an environment that is conducive for my children to come up to share that quality time with me, even if it means just 1 minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes, you know, like Nelly said, that emotion must be developed. There must be that emotional touch in it. Like, that child needs to feel something in here. And you, as a parent as well, you need to feel something in here that, you know what, you spend that time with that child and that child has left with something meaningful. So, so yeah. And we talked about, again, Nelly, I don't know, we want to talk about we've talked about creating that connection, that meaningful connection, which is about that emotional connection that we create. Because every time we spend that quality time, we kind of develop that emotional connection between us and our children. So yeah.
Just before we go further, you know, like growing up, I know majority of people still have that belief that as an adult, there's a saying, as an adult, you must behave as an adult.
Mm,
But then when you look at it, those are masks that people put on because then they have the inner child within them, which is the child, and it's just them. But when they feel that they want to play, they'll be like, no, 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 adults don't do that. You playing like that, you are a child and things like that. But deep within them, they know that they want to, but they are putting that mask because that is what the society has placed on them. But
yeah.
then when you see a parent who has given themselves that permission to reunite with their inner child,
Mhm.
they are very playful. So this is where you see the difference, where you see some parents who are very playful. It doesn't mean that they don't give respect or they don't respect themselves or their children. But it's just that they are just being authentic, that they're just being true to themselves. So then, why I'm bringing this is parents struggle to be the child within them, to recognize the child
Mhm.
within them. So they don't have that childlike attitude with their children. So it's difficult for parents to come down to their children's level to understand what they are going through because they always put that mask that I'm the parent, I'm the responsible one here. But then that already is a barrier and it really interferes with the emotional connectivity with
Mhm.
parents and their children because parents just want to be, there's this saying that you just want to be puffing and puffing that you are the parent, you are the adult. But then that child, they might just be looking at you and they understand things their own way, but they might not even talk about it. And gradually they start withdrawing because first they know that their parents do not understand them. And there's a common saying that children do not remember toys. They don't remember the expensive holidays that they went to, the expensive
Mm.
gifts that that their parents bought for them. But what they will always remember is how the parent made them feel.
Yeah.
Feeling is very, very strong. So if parents cannot build that emotional connection with their children, it's a massive gap. And again, looking at those in the Afro-Caribbean community, we avoid talking about emotions. We avoid expressing our emotions, our feelings to our children.
Mhm.
And when our children grow older, even like many generations down the line, they
Mhm.
struggle, which to me, there's no doubt why there's a lot of insecure individuals in the world today because there's that gap. They did not learn how to be emotionally secure. So then
Mhm.
they know that they want something, but then they cannot even contain what they want or what they need.
Mhm.
And then because they develop the blame game, they always say it is that person's fault and never taking it. So it has a lot, a lot, a lot. So the emotional connectivity, we have different activities. I don't know, but I think we'll talk about that later. That we'll
Yeah.
talk about different tips that parents can do to start developing that emotional connectivity with their children and not
Mhm.
just spending the quantity time. The quantity time might be now and again, but then try to bring in some intentions behind that, because the quantity time can still become a quality time. So it's just how you deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you were talking, there's one thing that came to mind, which again, that was a topic that I was gonna suggest that we'll talk about in navigating parenting next Tuesday, which is about how parents can balance their masculinity and femininity. Because especially as a single parent, because I know I'm a victim of this. When you're a single parent where you're playing both roles, you're playing the masculine role and the feminine role. And sometimes if we're not careful, the masculinity takes over femininity. I can't pronounce it. Femininity. It takes over. Well, I was just gonna say the manly role, the daddy role takes over the mommy role, if I want to put it that way in the simple terms. And so sometimes you feel like because you want to balance the two, you are there was a time that I wasn't conscious that my masculinity had taken over my femininity, and my children had noticed it. Like every time I come in, I'm always like so serious. And you know, this is my line when I just squeeze my head, my face, and you see this line, my kids, they knew when they just see that two line, there's like, oh, there's like, mom, relax, relax, relax. So is that thing where you like you have so strict, you feel like you cannot smile. You've got to be very strict. You know, when I come in, even my voice tone, my tone of my voice will change, because I feel like, I need to communicate this way. I need to, even the way I'll look at it, my eyes is like when they just see my eyes, maybe they are. So it went for long, but I understand that at some point in your life, especially when your children are navigating a particular stage in life, you've got to actually be firm, to make sure that. But I felt like I did it to the point where I forgot that my feminine side will only will slip in straight away if there is a pain, or sleeping straight away. Maybe I see something like that's when I feel like, oh, I need to relax, and hug them. And so what am I saying? I said sometimes it will be, if we are not conscious, and it took me time for me to be conscious that, hey, I need to come back into my femininity. I need to come back into that mommy role, where so then that is when I was like conscious that there are times that I need to slip into that masculine role, and then I need to slip back into that feminine role, because at the end of the day, I'm the mom. They need that love, they need that connection, and all of that. So I was just saying that sometimes, again, this is a confusion that parents will feel like, no, I don't want to smile. I'm not going to laugh. I'm not going to play. I'm not going to joke. I'm not going to do hide and seek. I'm not going to do this because, I'm in that role. So, which again, that's when if we are not careful there, we can actually block that communication, that connection with our children, because all they are seeing is that seriousness. All they're saying is that, you need to toe the line, you need to do this, you need to do that, without actually, you creating that space where they can just relax. So yeah, that's just something that I just wanted to make mention of.
Yeah. And like you said rightly, it takes a lot of time to become conscious of what you are doing, because just when you were talking, I when you were talking, I was thinking about before you went into both roles, you had created a relationship with your children. That's why they were able to tell you to relax. Because
Mm-hmm.
at the start, you said, are you the parent whom, when you are at the door, children are running away? So you see,
Mm-hmm.
those are two different scenarios, because for you, you had already created that relationship with your children. But on the other hand, if a parent is there when they are coming, they are coming into the house and the children are running away, probably the parent doesn't even know, because
Mm-hmm.
and the last we talked about respect the last time, and this is it's going back to the respect, because some parents, they feel that when they come in and the children are all in their rooms seriously doing nothing, those who
Mm-hmm.
are sleeping when they're fully awake, for the parent thinks that yes, they have raised up obedient children, but the children are just pretending to like toe the line, like you said before, just do the things that the parents expect them to do, but that's not actually what they want to do. So it's to start taking a step back, to be questioning yourself and finding out which parent you are. Are you the one who is open? Because when a parent is just themselves, which obviously if you want to be yourself, you'll be a child.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you'll be a child, you have, because you and your inner self or your inner child, they're just the same. It's just the
Yeah.
mask, like I said before. But then what times, that's where the difference come in, because it's not all the time that you'll just be childish. There will be
Mm-hmm.
times when the childishness will come in, and there'll be times when the seriousness, you have to put in the seriousness. So it's to be aware of what first. Well, because you talk to some children that are like, I don't have any, they don't even know what is called inner child.
Yeah.
They just know that they are the adult, they are the parent, they are the this and that. So it
Mm-hmm.
really takes a lot. And like we talk on all our shows, learning,
Mm-hmm.
be open to learning, because we are at this stage that we are now because we have given ourselves permission to learn, and we
Mm-hmm.
continue to learn. So that's why some of the things we are talking, and it seems as if we have always known it the way they've been. But no, we have just been learning and learning. And then we are discovering that we are having some level of satisfaction as compared to previously. Because,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you've brought this one.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about it, not today, but then a different
Absolutely.
time. Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, so we're gonna go into the next point. We're talking about simple ways busy parents can make children feel seen, heard, and valued, which is about how do we create that quality time? What does it mean to create that quality time, or what does quality time looks like? So yeah, Nelly, I'm sure you've got some pointers there, and we can interchange. I've got some few here as well.
Yeah. So to create those moments of connection doesn't have to be something formal. It could be very informal. It could be at any time. It doesn't have to have a specific length of time. For instance, you can be at the table, take out all distractions, say no phones, no television, just you sitting at the table having, for instance, breakfast, say probably on a Saturday, if depending, I mean, every household is different.
Mm-hmm.
As you are having breakfast, you can be talking, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be something very serious. It doesn't have to even concern school or work, just anything. Show interest in your child's friendship group.
Mm-hmm.
Ask your child what plans they have with their friends. What do they
Mm-hmm.
like doing? When they go out, what do they do? What kind of places do they go to? You show some interest. And when you are showing that interest, the child will be telling you, and it will give that child a sense that you have concern for them. You
Mm-hmm.
want to know what they are doing. Engage the child in small things. I'll just share this one that really made me smile. I like gardening. I think
Yeah.
most people who know me, they know that I like gardening. So it was, I think 2 weeks ago, the strawberries were
Mm-hmm.
ready. And I before when they were getting ready, I called my son because at the time he was writing his GCSE, but he has finished now. So I called for him and I showed him, I said, see, the strawberries are getting ready. We'll need to pick them soon, like in a
Mm-hmm.
couple of days. When are you free? Or when do you want us to harvest the strawberries? And he was like, he gave me 2 days after because he said he had a very hard paper the next day and he wanted to prepare. I was like, okay, that's fine. So the day he said he wanted to harvest it, When he came back, he ate, rested. I was like, okay, you said today we would go and harvest the strawberries. And he was like, yeah. So we went. So as all of this is opportunity that I was taking for us to communicate. It was nothing to do about his
Yeah.
GCSEs, nothing. Just
Yeah.
talking about like the strawberries. So he was like, what do I need to cut the strawberries with? I said, get a scissors. And then when we went, I was like, he was asking where does he cut the fruit. So we're
Mm-hmm.
just talking. So those were opportunities that we were talking. And
Yeah.
I told him that I am giving him the honor because in my house there's something about the first and the last.
Yeah.
Like who will have the whatever like opening like the top to have the
Yeah.
first. It is massive in my house.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
who would have the last? When it comes to the last, sometimes you see so many different things that are left just one
Yeah.
because it is there who will finish the last one.
The last.
So when as we're in the garden, we're just talking, talking, talking. And when he finished, I was like, I really felt it was a really good time for us because I intentionally did not take a bowl. So he
Yeah.
was cutting and putting on my palm. So I cupped
Oh.
my palm like that. And then he was putting and putting and putting. And we're talking all the time. So when we harvested all the ripe strawberries, we came into the house and I said, put them in a bowl, wash them. And then he ate the first one.
Ah.
So it looks small. I mean, to someone, they'll say, oh, but
Yeah.
it's just strawberries. And even doing the gardening, a lot of people say, just go to the shops and buy it. It's just that if you don't do it yourself, you will never understand the
Yes.
satisfaction that you have. So it's just taking advantage of very small things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then you don't know the deeper connection that you are creating with your child.
Absolutely.
Even
Absolutely.
sometimes, like reading bedtime stories, but it will depend on the age of the child.
Mm-hmm.
So, for bedtime stories, if the child is getting older where they can read, the parent can flip it that, okay, the child reads to the parent, which a lot of children find that it's a pride for them to read to
Mm-hmm.
their parents.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. That is so true. And that's so, it's a good thing to learn because again, these are things that we take it for granted, like, oh no, it's just a small thing. But those are the small things that creates that memorable pathway where your child will sit back and say, oh, I remember the day mom asked me to harvest some strawberries, and oh, she did not even have any bowl. I was harvesting and putting it in her palm. Those little things. Those are things that build that stories down the line that is going. It's already when scientists talk about neural pathway, it's already created a tiny neural pathway in their brain, so they already know that that is what happened, and they're going to tell their own children someday. And yeah, so it's really cool, and we
You
should not.
know,
Yeah.
you are talking, I'm just laughing because there's this, okay, I'll just say it. So when I was in primary school, I was tiny. I was
Mhm.
tiny. So when we were going to school, there was this stream. There was this, I don't know whether there was this whether it's a stream or a river, but there was
Mhm.
a body of water underneath with a massive bridge.
Mhm.
And then by the side of it, there was a waterfall. So sometimes there used to be strong winds. So there was a time my dad told me, I think I was like in probably like year three or so.
Mhm.
My dad told me to take stones and put in my pocket to give me some weight so that when I'm crossing that bridge, the wind shouldn't blow me off.
Mhm.
And honestly, I took it seriously because to me, I was like, oh, that's a safe. He wanted to keep me safe to make sure that the wind doesn't blow me off because,
Mhm.
okay. after so many years, I still had it in mind because to me, I believed it.
Mm-hmm.
But not until a few years back that I asked him, I said, where did he come up with that? And he couldn't even remember. And then I told my children the story. So one day, one of my daughters went to school. At that time, she was in primary, and it was windy. They were playing on the playground, and she just said, "Oh, sir, you can put stones in the pocket." You know already that like that is they need to explore that. How can a child that age have that kind of idea? So they called her in the office and they say, you talked about putting stones in the pocket. What was that about? And then she told the story. She said, it happened to me, and I'm the one who told them the story. Because imagine, so it's that kind of thing. They tell you, you tell your children tell the other, and that's how it just goes from one generation to the next, to the next.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, we talk about quality time can also mean more like you already say sharing laughter over dinner. We talk about taking a walk and having honest conversation, you know, and sometimes it may not be a long walk, it might just be a short walk. Hey, let's just go 2 minutes, 5 minutes down, and but the thing is that Nelly, sometimes when the children are teenagers, it's difficult, to actually create that time because the things that they like may be things that are boring to you, and then the things that you like, the things that are boring to them. And so sometimes it's very difficult to kind of strike a balance where you guys can do something that everybody enjoys. But this is where I always say sometimes parents will just have to sacrifice because sometimes honestly most of the things I don't enjoy, but I just have to tack along and just also be making as if I'm it's just to spend that just just to spend that time with them. So it's about having that honest conversation. And there's one thing that I notice again when you have teenager or even young adults. This is when I say sometimes as parents we just have to tack along what they like, because one thing I noticed is that my children, they had a show, like my daughter has a show, they call it is this dating show, Pop the Balloon. She loved the Pop the Balloon. And that is one of the shows that she was so called, come mom, come on, let's watch it. And honestly, when I started watching it, I felt like, should I be watching that with my daughter? But again, you've got to remember that they are already adults and they're already forming, certain things in their own mind. What is the ideal man they want to attract to and all of that. And when we started watching it, and then she will ask me, like, okay, mom, what is the ideal man that you would like? And question like, but then you have to answer. I have to answer. And then I also ask her. And then when you're watching, you see certain things and she'll say, oh, that one was rubbish, why would that? So it generates a conversation. And in that way, you begin to see what is also in her own mind. And then
Mm,
she also will be asking to see what is in your own mind as a mom, like, So these are certain things that again is about us parents just kind of lowering ourselves down, making sure that we're in that level playing field so that we can explore, we can go into their world, in that their small bubble, and just to explore what is it that they like what doing. In fact, both of them, even my eldest son, he likes it. There's another one called Indian dating. It's still a dating show, but it's Indian Bride or something. For some reason, both of them just like watching it, and me as well. I'll just come and tag along, and we'll just so again, like I say, it's about finding that moment where you can, because to be honest with you, there are some times that if we're not careful, we won't know our children. And this is the thing that sometimes parents, you feel like you know your child. No, you don't even know your child. In our own world, we feel like, oh no, I know my child. But if your child were to tell you who they are, you'll be shocked that the person that you know about that child is completely different from who that child is. And it's by creating these moments, these small moments, that you can actually get to know who your child really is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really, really crucial, and we might be talking about it as if it doesn't matter, but sadly enough, majority of parents do not know their children
Mhm.
because that emotional connection is not there. Because parents are already struggling, they don't even know how to manage their own emotions. How then will they be able to connect emotionally with their children? And then the children just grow up not even knowing how to manage themselves, and then it just continue. So,
Mhm.
like for me, what I do to connect is, like we talked about teenagers. Now I have just one teenager. The others are all adults.
Mhm.
The way I I connect with my teenage child is that he likes music.
Mhm.
He likes listening to music, and sometimes when he plays a music that I really like, I go to him and I'm like, oh, I really like this music. And then I've realized that when he knows that I'm around, he would play the music, whether it's coincidentally that he just wants to play it or he's playing it because I indicated that I like it. I do not
Mhm.
know. But then he will play the music. Some of the music, it will not be too nice. And then when we're in the car, he would always want to play his music. And I'm like, okay, play it. And then he really enjoys it when I'm like singing to some of the music. And so
Mhm.
he keeps on playing it. And then I don't know if that way I've influenced him, and his his kind of music is getting to the my kind of music. So I
Mhm.
don't know if it's coincidental or whether I'm influencing him. But again,
Mhm.
it starts from somewhere to start building that relationship with our children. Because if we want to have obedient children where we say, do this without explanation, the children will really struggle and that connection will not be there. So it's to take advantage of anything that you are doing.
Yeah.
If you identify that the child likes cooking,
Mhm.
cook with, if you don't want to cook with him, you or cook with the child, not him, it can be him or her. If the child wants to cook something, you can just be at the side and be watching them, even
Mhm.
if you are not talking. Just be
Yeah.
watching them. But then it will prompt you to ask, what is that? What quantity are you putting? Because, like,
Mhm.
for the children who are in the diaspora, they like their recipes with their measurements exact. But for us, the African parents, we don't have recipes. We just cook, and it's always nice.
Mhm.
So it's to take advantage because, like, for my children, I know when it comes to food, I know the kind of food each of my child likes to cook.
Mhm.
They like to cook different things. Some are into baking, some are into cooking. They just have their own different kind of thing. And
Mhm.
I eat everything because I feel just encourage them because it's something that they like. It's their choice.
Absolutely.
So it's not that we forget ourselves as parents, but again, it's just doing that. Listen to the children, get them involved. And again, for now, we have been talking about spending quality time. You know, Parents have got into the habit of buying gadgets for their children because it's easy.
Mhm.
If parents want to do something, just give the child, whether it's a phone, the laptop, whatever. The child will be busy there and the parent will do their own thing. And as the child
Mhm.
grows older, they know that they always have the phone, they always have something to play with. And then that time to have activities with the parent is not there. But it doesn't
Yeah.
mean that parents cannot start from somewhere. Wherever you find yourself as a parent, you can always start. Start small. Start engaging with your children. Probably go to the park, go for a walk, go shopping. Probably shopping is a bad idea.
Make sure you have money before you go shopping, otherwise you go and get angry.
Yeah. So it's just do things with our children, listen to them, ask them questions. When our children ask us questions, let us answer the honest we can. Because if I think of my own days, I was being, me and my siblings were being lied to so much that we
Mhm.
are realizing. And at the time, we took it for the truth.
Mhm.
So it's just to be mindful because now with the technology, children, I just feel that before children come to ask something from the parent, they've already searched that up on Google or
Yeah,
internet. And then if they come and ask you and you say whatever you say, the child might just go away and then they'll make their decision probably never to answer that question. But
absolutely.
if you answer and it is similar to what the child has already found out, that is a way of bringing the child closer because the child will know that if they have any other question, they'll go to their parent and the parent will be honest with their answer. So there are just small things that we take for granted, not just for the immediate satisfaction that, oh, go away, I'm busy. Just be
Absolutely.
mindful.
Absolutely. Yeah, another one that I've got on my list is giving hugs, like encourage you give your child hug if they're comfortable with, because again, some kids, some children are not comfortable with hugging. You know, if your child is comfortable with hugging, or make it a routine, you know, when you guys meet or you come back, like just give like my son, he likes sometimes he just like that big long hug, you know, and I'll just give him the other day he came back and then he was trying to he was because he's preparing for his mocks next week, and he kept going up and down, in out, in out. He went jogging that day like 2 times. He went the first time and then he came back the second time. He said, "I'm going jogging." I said, "Hey, how many times are you going jogging today?" He said, "Oh, I'm stressed." I was like, "Oh, come, 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 come. What are you stressed about?" He said, "Oh, he's trying to study, but he's not entering. You know, he's just stressed. I'm sure it's the pressure of him trying to put everything in his brain at once, and it's making." And then I said, "Oh, come and give me a hug." And he just came with his long, you know, he's tall with the long hands and just came out on my. And then he just held me there. And I said, "You know what? You don't need to stress. You don't need to put everything in your brain at the same time. Just, you know, what goes in is fine. If the rest cannot go in, just leave it, you know, and all of that." And then he said, "Okay." And then he left. So again, things like that, we just have to be conscious. Like, and if I wasn't listening, I would have missed the beat where he said he was stressed. Because again, as parents, sometimes we may be too busy with our own noise, too many noises in our head and our mind, and that a child is communicating, and then we're not listening. And then we miss the vital thing that maybe that child is trying to communicate, you know, because we are busy. And when we do like that, the child disconnects because the child feels like you're not listening to their worries, you're not listening to actually what they're going through, what they're experiencing. So it's about, again, we talk about giving them hugs if you can, encouragement, like just encouraging them, and, you know, give full attention. You know, even that we talk about full attention, if it's just a few minutes, just 2 minutes, you know, just 2 minutes, and just give them that undivided attention. There are days that sometimes when you come back, I've so many times when I come back, when I'm just about to go on the laptop to maybe check my emails or do what, that's when I'll hear a knock on the door. You know, can mom, can I talk to you? Again, that time sometimes there are days that I'll say, you know what, not now, because again, I if I need to reply to emails immediately, I'll say not now. We can talk, maybe give me 30 minutes, give me 1 hour, we talk about it, you know. So it's about making the child being heard. You've heard them, but then also don't, because at that moment, maybe if you're responding to that child at that moment, you may not give them that 100% attention, because at the back of your mind, you're thinking that, you know what, I've got this email to reply, I've got this to reply. So your mind is divided. And so you're not going to give that quality time to that child, and which we hear all about that quality time. So even if it means you delaying the conversation so that you can also have some peaceful mind, and then before you engage in that conversation, by all means do. At the end of the day, you want that quality time with your child. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, over to you, Nelly, if you've got something to talk, and then we can slide into the last point.
I think we've covered all what I've got on my list here.
Okay.
So we can move to the next point.
Okay, so the next point we took, which is the last point, we talk about how quality time helps build trust, confident communication, and emotional security, which I think we've already, in a way, answered some of the question in what we've said. Because
Mhm.
when we build quality time, like Nelly said, when Nelly was defining quality time, it's about that emotion, it's about building, like, that connection, building that memorable moment, that emotional time, you know creating emotion, emotional moment, if that's the right way to say it. So when we do that, it builds trust, because if your child comes to you and you give them undivided attention, you look them in the eyes, you're smiling, you're engaging in what that child is telling you, and you're so keen and interested and asking questions, you're building trust, and you're making your child know that, hang on, next time, if I've got an issue, I've got a question, I need to come. My parent is that first person to come and have that conversation with. But if we don't build that trust with our children, they've got that internet out there, like Nelly said. They've got friends out there. They've got other networks out there. They're going to run out there before coming back to us. And by the time they come back to us, maybe something would have hit them out there, trouble, before they're coming back. So we're going to be the second option, when in the other way, we need to try and make sure that we are the first option. They come to us first, before going out there. So, and again, it's about, like I said at the beginning, it's about building that environment, conducive environment, where they feel safe, seen, and heard. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've talked about strengthening communication.
Hmm.
Communication is something that we always talk about because it's an issue within
Yeah.
our community, because parents want obedient children because there's less work for them, in the sense that they'll just tell the child to do this and the child does it. But then they don't understand why the child is just doing it the way they are. And like Peggy said, some parents, I mean, most parents will say they know their children, but unfortunately,
Mm.
most parents do not know their children, because when their children, say, when they hear about a child's behavior, and they're like,
Hmm.
no, that's not my child, that's not the child I know, it's because parents do not actually know their children. When they buy fancy things, or when they provide the basics for them, they think that they understand their children. But then the emotional connection, because emotions are very, very strong, very, very,
Mm.
which is why, like at the beginning, I said, children will not remember the toys, the gifts, the holidays, the expensive things, but they will remember how they felt. And it's not just children, adults as well. Because
Hmm.
even like we are having this conversation, and something comes up, you will straight away remember an incident, how that made you feel. But
Hmm.
other things around there, like who gave you what present, you might not even remember.
Yeah.
So the way we talk to our children, the way we open up with our children also helps them to open up to us, the parents. So for parents, what we need to do is lowering our guards, because we are too guarded. We have those masks that because we are adults, we are parents, we need to do this and not that, because doing that means that you are childish. But in actual fact, everyone has the childlike behavior. That is
Yeah.
why when people feel comfortable, they behave, and others will be like, oh, I didn't know this person could do that, because they are just being themselves. But then, I saw this in someone whereby they were just being themselves, which that was the self that I, when someone is being their true self is different. So I
Yeah.
was seeing that side and I was like, oh, this is, and then it was just like a flip. And then they changed and I was like, oh, so it's really surprising. So since then, I've really been watching and I've been noticing how people flip when they
Yeah.
start feeling, when they feel comfortable, and then they realize that they are feeling comfortable. Not everyone, not many people know what it means to feel comfortable.
Yes.
Many people don't.
Yeah.
And even to feel calm, to feel relaxed, many people don't. When they
Mm-hmm.
feel that for a moment, and they realize it, they say, oh, no, something is wrong. And then they go back to the way that they think they have to be behaving or
Mm-hmm.
feeling. So it's
It's
to
so
improve that situation.
it's so amazing. It's so and it's interesting sometimes. And this is why we say again when we watch body language, it's very important to watch body language because again it's a skill that we can learn. And we learn it for ourselves as well as we even try and learn it even for our kids because how are you going to know whether your kid is in their right sense self or they're just acting up? Because sometimes our children will act up just so to please you, to do what you want and to tell you to hear what you want to hear, but we need to also be watchful that when they're in their real self, like relax, and how do they feel, how are they, so those are things that are very important as well. Same as us as well, parents, we need to be watchful, with our own body language as well, so because it's very important.
I think just, Peggy, when you were talking, I just wanted to say something about eye contact. So,
Yeah.
eye contact is a big thing in the Afro-Caribbean community because children do not look at their parents or their elders or
Yeah.
those older than them in the eye
Yeah.
because that is considered as disrespectful. But
Mm-hmm.
then diaspora is completely different because if someone is talking to you and you don't look at them, they they interpret it very differently.
Yeah.
So we just need to be mindful here when we talk about the eye contact because if you dare look at your parent direct in the eye, it
Mm-hmm.
is disrespectful, as they would
Yeah.
say. So it's just to be mindful.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So we've talked. I think we've covered. We'll talk about emotional security again, because how do you build emotional security? First of all, it's about the times that as parents we just need to. We may not agree all the time with our children. They've got their own beliefs, they've got their own values, they've got their own. Yes, as parents, there are certain values that we instill, that family value that we instill in the children. But when the children grow up, they form their own values. And sometimes those values may even contradict the family values or the values, their parental values that has been instilled on them. And we may disagree with them, but we may not agree with them, right? But again, it's about looking at, we don't need to force, so long as that value is not harmful, so long as not harmful, but we need to make sure that at least we are not, we're building that emotional security in such a way where they feel comfortable to say, okay, this is my value, this is what I be. There are days, and sometimes as parents, again, like Afro-Caribbean parents, it hurts when your child tell you that, hey, mom, dad, I don't agree with you. Sometimes those parents feel like, how dare you not agree with me? But we need to understand that those children, they form their own values where they're gonna say, you know what, I understand where you're coming from, but this is my own values. This is my own thing that I believe in. And hey, sometimes we just need to agree to disagree or disagree to agree, in such a way that, and that is one of the things that builds that emotional security to an extent where they feel comfortable to come to you and express certain things about their emotions, knowing that you're not going to judge them, or you're not just going to shush them down, or you're not going to criticize them, and or you're not going to talk in start lecturing them, because I know parents sometimes we like lecturing, by the time the child comes and before they open their mouth, we've lectured onto and even forgotten what they were about to say. So those are the type of things that we need to try and be conscious so that we build that emotional security with our children.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very true. And just one thing that I want to say is when we talk of quality time does not equate happiness. Like
Mm,
every quality time you spend with your children, it has to be laughter and dancing. No,
mm-hmm,
sometimes quality times would be having those intimate dialogues that are hard, but
mm-hmm.
and that really, when you have those deep conversations, like
Yeah.
Peggy talked about values.
Mm-hmm,
When children are young, because they learn from their parents, from their environment, they just absorb whatever is given to them.
mm-hmm,
But then when they grow older, they start realizing their individuation, that they are different, they are special, they are unique, and things like that. And when they start like get on this journey of personal development, or they get to a stage where they feel that things are not right,
mm-hmm,
things are not right. When they get to that stage, they start having this conflict with
mm-hmm,
these values, with these beliefs that their parents, the society gave on them. They took upon that, but then they struggle with it because they feel that something is not right, but they don't know what is not right because they have lived by those values and those beliefs from when they were born. So then they
mm,
struggle. But then that inner confliction comes in because what they are, the values and the beliefs that some of the values and beliefs that they have developed does not align with their purpose. So then
yeah.
they have that inner conflict.
Mm-hmm,
So then sometimes children will will resist. But then if a parent is not overprotective and being directive that the child must do this, the child must not do that, just accept the child for who they are. It will really help the child because the child will want to understand what's going on with themselves and they'll feel free to share that with their parents, and the parents will not
mm-hmm.
tell them what they must do, but the parent will guide them so then they explore themselves much better, because as much as we say we want to make our children happy, we can only do so much. Happiness is a choice, is an it is an individual's choice. So no matter what we do, our children will decide as an individual whether they want to be happy or not.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And if you're watching, if you're maybe a parent, a single parent, where you're thinking like, it's good. So there's some people that will go on holiday as a way of connection, you know. But I always say when I speak with parents, they feel like, what, oh, some parents are taking their children on holiday. I cannot afford it. I always say, you know what, holiday, you can still have as a good moment with your child, even in your own house, right? You must not go on holiday if you cannot afford for it. So it's not when we talk about, spending quality time, it's not about the perfection, it's not about the expensive things, it's just about that connection, no matter how small it is. Because you know what? People can spend hundreds of pounds, thousands of pounds, go on holiday and still don't connect. They still don't connect. They still don't build that connection. But they're going to come back and say, hey, yeah, they went on holiday. When they went on holiday, what did they do? Was their connection. But you that you're here at home with your own little way of doing things, you can build real connection at home, with your
Yeah.
children. So again, it's about saying that don't feel guilty, don't feel bad that because you haven't got the money, you haven't got this, you haven't got the resources to get whatever you're trying. No, just keep working on love. Just keep being present. keep being present. Like Nelly said, your child is not going to remember the gift and all of that, but they're going to remember how you make them feel. So it's about how are you making your child feel. Keep doing that because that is what matters the most.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Peggy, just to add to what you've said, I think it's down to comparison because there's a
Mm,
lot of comparison. And like you said, there are many different places, many free places that parents and children can have fun. For instance,
mm-hmm,
there are public parks, there are
mm,
places there are places that parents can go with their children. And while they are visiting, they can, I mean, just so many different things. Because sometimes, even like me in my back garden, my son likes football. My
mm-hmm.
daughters played football at some point in their lives. So sometimes we just go in the back garden and we're kicking the balls. For us, that's fun
Exactly.
because sometimes I want to kick the ball and I miss the ball, and that's how they'll be laughing at me that, oh, mom, this ball is big like that. You cannot kick it. You are missing the ball. What were you looking at? Is it that you didn't have your glasses and things like that? So it's
Mm-hmm.
just them kind of thing. We are just having fun. So it's that idea of comparison that parents need to step back from that and just do what is
Yeah.
pleasing, what is good to bring their family together, and most
Uh,
especially show that example to their children just to be
mm-hmm.
themselves, appreciate a child for who they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think we've covered all what we had to cover, and I hope you would have picked something from it if you're watching us later. I hope you would have learned something. The essence is that quality time matters, and quality time does not need to cost you money. It does not need to cost you, make you stress. It doesn't need to put you under pressure or under stress. Whatever way you want to spend on quality time, build that emotion, build that trust, build that connection with your child, no matter how small it is. So that is the essence of it. So, well, we hope that at least you learned something. And like we always say, leave your comments. If there's anything that you want us to talk about, drop it in the message comment section. Nelly and I were going to pick it up. So, yeah, without any further ado, Nelly, let me pass you and you can conclude and we close.
Yeah, I think we've looked at many different aspects today. I won't go reviewing all of them. So
Yeah.
it's about quality time. Quality time is different from quantity, and we
Mm,
made the difference. And our focus today is on quality time. The quality time is make the best out of anything that you do. It could be small, it could be big, whatever. Make that
mm-hmm.
connection. And it's by knowing your child, being involved in your child's life, bring yourself to your child's level so that you can explore what the child likes, what they don't like, their friendship group, their activities. Just show interest in your child, basically. And then do things together. And especially now, Peggy, we didn't even talk about this. And especially now, when there's the use of so much gadget until the government in the UK is passing a law. Let's go back out there and just play
Yeah.
because when we were growing up, that's just what we did. We didn't have gadgets. So it's to create that time because family connection develops in moments like that. And then we
Mm-hmm.
shared tips on what parents can do to create that emotional connection with their children. And yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's,
absolutely.
oh yeah, so
Um,
you have what you're reading.
no, sorry, I was just trying to look on my list to see. Yeah, so I think we've covered everything. So Nelly, thank you so much for today, and thank you for our viewers for watching. We do apologize at the beginning. There were some glitches there, but we hope that next time it's going to be sorted. So yeah, and we hope you have a fantastic weekend. Oh, this Sunday is Father's Day. It's Father's
Oh,
Day. And maybe we need to make a video, something, talk about something of, about the Father's Day. But anyway, we're gonna see what we can do. But anyway, happy Father's Day. If this, we just want to wish a happy Father's Day to all our fantastic, fabulous, you know, fathers out there. So yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
happy Father's Day. And we love you all.
we love you. Take care. Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.